Welcome to my office. I guess, well, we got pretty exciting stuff going on today. There's my wife. She's doing some work, cleaning up some other people's messes. In the graphic design world, you'll notice she's wearing a black throw quilt. It's got a bunch of different black fabrics all sewn together in a certain pattern. We made it ourselves, and it's just really warm and really cool. So I want to show you something today. In the last video, you saw a bunch of books, laid them down on top of each other, fantasy books for various things. You saw the book called The History of Hell, which I read in order to build the hell that I have created. I took no real inspirations from it, but when I was creating my unique hell, but I did want to look at what had been done. You saw a guide to germs, and that's really cool. It's helped me out in the past, especially when I was writing Mestelvin. I had to create my own plagues. There's a scene in Mestelvin where the goddess of death, the Pale, decides she's going to have her yearly festival in the city of Mestelvin. And there are these statues that are brought to the city and set out in the main street, and people have to leave offerings at the feet of these statues so that they don't get them. The statue is each a person, an image of a person that's suffering from that disease. So I looked into the Guide to Germs a lot when I was making my own plague victims and creating my own plagues. The book that I use the most is the Encyclopedia of Mythical Creatures. I like to read through there, find things that aren't very well or very often used, and do my own little spin on them. There was a book I was writing recently. Okay, let me see if I can get this right. It was called The Brewer, and one of the Calden Collective is a point of view character in that book. And she goes to, no, this isn't the brewer, this is the minstrel. She goes to the Vale, and she is met by guardians of the road of the Vale, and you get to see the Black Dog. The Black Dog is a creature that has been used in a lot of different pieces of work. It was in Prisoners of Azkaban, the myth of the Black Dog. It was used in Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's work when he did The Hounds of Baskerville. It's just a big, shaggy black dog that is a guardian of a certain area and usually a terror. In this particular scene that I wrote, it was guarding this goblin city that had been attacked, and it had a whole bunch of other black dogs with it. They were all led by another dog that had a human face. I forget what that one's called. It's another creature that I got out of the Encyclopedia of Mythical creatures. I forget what it's called now, but I get them, I use them. So those are books that I often use to get inspiration or just to page through when I have time. So I'm going to show you something from my office today. This is one of the most important pieces in my office of all time. I'm going to show it to you, and then I'm going to take a video and show you the video so that you have a better view. Oh wait, that's not actually that bad. These are the 3 fates. You've got the maiden, the matron, and the crone. It's a small plaque, and one of the first things we did when I decided to write Chaste, the first book that I wrote, is the next day after we had decided that it was going to be, at the very least, a novella, definitely the longest thing I ever wrote, maybe even a novel. We didn't know for sure. We went shopping the next day. Got me a bunch of office supplies that I thought I needed. I did need some of them. I didn't need others. And we stopped at a store, kind of a mystic, on a gypsy kind of feel to it, called Renaissance Books. And I happened upon this plaster cast of the 3 fates. And I decided, you know, if writing is the fate that's set out before me, I'm going to have the 3 fates watching me while I do it. Every story, every book, everything that I've ever written, this plaster, these 3 women have been watching me do it. There have been a couple of times when I've gone on the road and taken a laptop with me to write, to start a book, or one time I remember we were going to the lake and I was in the middle of end of book mode, and so I had to travel, had to go on the road, and I put this in my computer bag. They've been with me every time, because if it's my fate to be a writer, then I want them watching while I do it. Okay, so that's them. I will leave them right here so that you can look at it. You can't really see it details from there, but you know what you're looking at. Okay, today's a pretty cool day. On my channel. Today, well, a couple days ago, I was able to get ML Spencer to come on and talk to us. We had a really cool conversation. Learned a little bit about her book and her process and stuff like this. And talk a little bit about what it's like when a writer is having trouble with a book they're writing. And we talked about some cool things, which you're going to see here in just a couple seconds. Anyway, she's one of my best friends. She's a fantastic writer. She's really blowing up with her book Dragon Mage. It's everywhere. Just like look for any kind of fantasy anywhere and you're gonna find Dragon Mage by ML Spencer. Last season I talked about her quite a bit. I read some of the things that I wrote to her in letters that me and her wrote, because we used to write back and forth to each other. We talked about this in this video. Letters that I used to write to her, things that I used to we used to discuss. She was a big factor in season 1 of my show. The finale of season 1 of my show had the great Richard Nell, the unbreakable Sarah Children, and the mystical M.L. Spencer showed up for like 10-15 minutes. If you remember correctly, if you saw that episode, she had gone to the dentist to get some work done, and coming out of the dentist, she had fallen and hurt her ankle, and she was on some painkillers, so she was loopy and she didn't want to make a fool of herself. But she did stop by for a little while, and we got to talk to her for a little bit. Well, now we got her for the whole episode. So we're going to take a look at that, and we're gonna let her talk, and I'm gonna interrupt her way too many times, and we're going to get to spend some time with M.L. Spencer. So let's go do that now. Here she is. This is the one you heard about all first season. M.L. Spencer.
Hi.
Yeah, so welcome to my office.
Your office is nicer than my office.
My office is pretty cool. You can't really see all the cool stuff. All the cool stuff is on that wall.
I think the cool stuff is around your neck. Can you tell me about this like lock that you're wearing?
Okay, the lock. Okay. So, all right. So I had the chain, and I was thinking about how cool it might be. We went out and we looked for locks, and they had like the little ones or whatever, but I decided to go with the big padlock. This lock, basically, Becca's the only one with the key, and it's too small to fit over my head. So if she decides that this stays on me, then this stays on me until the day I die, basically.
That's so awesome. Way to go, Becca. That's like next level. I love it.
Yeah, I got it locked down.
This is the thing. I see people staring at it all the time, and like people, nobody's ever like asked about it. It's like
You're kidding.
It's very chrome, it's very nice, it's very, but it's also very aggressive because it's huge. It's huge. You can't see, and it's very heavy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how come nobody's ever asked you about it? That
I don't know. It's kind of, I don't know. Like people are like intimidated by it or something. I don't know, but nobody has ever asked me anything like that. You see this patch right here?
Yeah.
Okay, this patch has one of Becca's poems sewn into it.
Oh.
Yeah, it has one of Becca's poems sewn into it, and it's a poem about what it's like when I start working, when I'm like trapped in the world and all that kind of stuff. And she doesn't realize I'm going to do this, but I'm going to make her recite it right now. Yes, you have to recite it right now.
Is it I know this part?
Yeah,
Okay.
she has to recite it right now. This is
No pressure,
don't mess it up.
I'm gonna get closer so you can hear me.
Mel is judging you.
Okay.
Okay, so this is a poem about what it's like for my dog to drink, evidently.
Okay.
No, this is a poem about what it's like when I'm working and she's like dealing with me being in my fantasy world. So go.
Okay, it's called I Know This Part. I know this part. He flies away, but I'll see him again someday. I don't know how, I don't know where, but somehow he will find me there. He'll swoop back in to grab my heart and hold it close. I know this part. I let him go to find a world I'll never know, to walk among the beasts and kings where magic rolls and battle rings. He wanders long. It is his art. He can't stay here. I know this part. He'll bring to me a tale or two, a memory of blood and death, of love and pain, of finding hope where shadows reign. And when he does, he'll lift my heart and hold it close. I know this part, for when he's gone, my love for him burns ever strong. He fills my dreams, he fills my sky, he's everywhere. I never try to hold him back. It'd be too dark. I can't do that. I know this part.
Okay.
Jesse, every person in the world needs somebody like Becca.
I agree. I totally.
You are very blessed. That's all I will say. You are.
I
very
totally agree. So
my cat. I thought I made him happy by feeding him wet food, but he's back.
Well, can you go get him and put him in your lap or something?
Oh my God. Hold on. Stupid, come here.
Stupid.
Jordan's back at the water bowl.
The dog is back. I'm not stupid.
The dog is back.
Okay, so this is my cat.
Okay,
His
cool.
name is Andy, and he's ultimately cuddleable, but he's also very stupid, so we just call him stupid.
Okay. Well, we have water bowls in the office because me and the dogs stay here a lot, and evidently this whole episode is going to be about animals that are being cantankerous.
That's
okay.
Right.
Okay, so Dragon Mages everywhere. I want to let you talk about Dragon Mage for a little bit. The show really isn't about like promoting books or anything like that, but I do want you to promote your book anyway. So talk to us about Dragon Mage for a little bit. I hear you're writing a sequel to it, so tell us a little bit, whatever you can about the sequel without giving anything away. And just plug it real quick and then we'll move on. Go.
Okay, so I wrote this book called Dragon Mage, and it's about a mage and his dragon. Let's see here. It's pretty cool. I think, in my own opinion, because I don't know, it's got like some really good, I guess, relationships between characters. I guess that's kind of where it shines.
Okay.
So yeah, that's Dragon Mage.
Okay.
I really don't know what else to say about it.
Well, it's everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere. Everybody that's seen this has heard about it. I've talked about it a little bit in the past, and we can see the book cover in the back there. I've talked about it a little bit in the past and how well it's doing. It's absolutely everywhere. I'm a member of a group called Fantasy Faction on Facebook. And it's basically just a fantasy discussion group, and people are always asking for recommendations and stuff like that. And I see Dragon Mage being recommended like 2 or 3 times a day. It's seriously, Dragon Mage is huge. It's bigger than you think it is. It really is. So anyway, yeah, I wanted to give you a little bit of time to talk about it, and it's ebook, and it's, do you have an audio for it?
Yeah, the audio just came out a couple days ago.
That's what I thought. Like the audiobook's out for it, and you've got hardback, right?
Yeah.
Hardback, okay. So like judge her.
What?
During the show, I want everybody watching the show to judge her and decide if you want to read her stuff. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Nobody's ever gonna want to read my stuff again, Jesse.
No,
Fails.
well, okay. No, everybody go out and grab Dragon Mage. It's supposed to be amazing. I haven't gotten a chance to read it yet, but everybody who has is going nuts. Let's see. Okay, so you and a bunch of writers went on a trip that I was in no way jealous that you got. No way jealous at all. So tell us about some of the cool things you guys did.
Oh gosh. Okay, so we basically all were invited to go to Michael Sullivan's house
Okay.
on the East Coast, and we had a really good time. Like it was like me and ML Wong and Dirk Ashton and Matt Presley all
Okay.
carpooled from the airport.
Cool.
And Matt put his computer in the back of the car, and we didn't realize, but the trunk opened.
Oh no!
His computer slipped out the back.
Oh no!
But well, I guess he doesn't back up his work either, so he had an entire novel on this computer.
Oh no!
Fortunately, God was smiling down upon him, and we were able to get his computer back like days later. It was such a mess. But yeah, we went to Michael Sullivan's house, and he owns this like really beautiful house, like on, you know, some acreage. And some of the fun things we did was we just kind of hung out in the pool, we talked, we played board games. We had like a little mini con going where we kind of each talked about like something that we were, you know, felt strong about. So that was kind of cool. He has like a little archery range. So I got to like actually try archery for the first time.
Yeah, I
And
saw you with a bow.
You
saw you with a
see
bow.
my arm. You gotta see this. You ready? This is disgusting.
Okay. Oh my God, is that from the string or something?
That's from the bowstring. I guess my
wow.
arm like hyperextends, so my elbow sticks out.
Oh wow, that's
was so
gnarly.
bad.
Wow.
It was bad.
That's
So
cool.
I had
That's
a lot of fun though. It was like a really
Yeah.
good time. We were there for about 5 days. So
Yeah,
it was a blast.
that's cool. That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
And I really got to see all of like Michael Sullivan's whole writing process, which he was nice enough to share with me. So
Yeah.
that was really valuable.
That's cool. That's cool. So like so tell us about like your writing process.
My writing process isn't really happening right now, nor has it happened in about 6 months. But let me tell you about what it was like when I actually used to have a process. You laugh, but that's actually kind of sad. I've been having such severe writer's block that Dragon Age 2 is going to be lucky to be written.
Well, you have a deadline, right?
I do have a deadline.
And you're capable of pushing that deadline back?
1 month.
1 month?
1 month.
Okay. Well, like,
let's see if that's enough.
Okay. So, you know, like there's books everybody has trouble writing. So I don't think it's really as all that bad. I mean, when I was writing the Raksha Genocide, I had a very similar thing happen. I had to take a lot of time off, like in between parts of it, and then I've also got this thing where we had to move my office from downstairs to upstairs, and now I'm supposed to get started working on these 3 books. I'm halfway done with all of them, and I'm just not getting started, you know? So like, I think it's totally normal, and you probably already know this. I'm not teaching you anything, but I think it's totally normal for people to go through that. So, you know, like it's a challenge, but it'll get done. So, okay. Okay, this is what I know. Because you have the most unique way of writing a book, or at least you have described in the past a way that was very unique that you've written a book. I don't know if you're still doing it this way. And maybe I made this up about you. It's possible. I make up a lot of things about you. there's a lot of legend floating around about you that's in no way true. Like that thing that I told Richard Nell that time about your monkey tail. No, I'm just no. Okay, you write the dialogue first. Isn't that right?
You're right. That is how I write. Okay, so the process, when it actually works, goes like this. Okay, so I basically map out the whole book ahead of time. So I've got it all outlined, chapter by chapter. When I go to actually write a chapter, I usually do it like the day before. I'll outline the whole chapter with dialogue. So I've got all the dialogue there, and then, you know, he's going to go here, they're going to do this, but then the dialogue. And so I'll just go over the dialogue like a lot until I feel like it's really natural. Then I usually go to sleep. I wake up in the morning, then I write the chapter. And so the dialogue is already there, and then I just like fill in the narrative.
Well, that's cool. Okay. So, you like go over the dialogue like a lot. Is that because it gives you like a certain amount of confidence to have it done, or is it because it's a challenge for you, or just the way that you've been doing it all your life, so that's why you do it? Is there
Probably that's why I've been doing it. I like to kind of like just kind of almost act it out to make sure that it's like flowing correctly. That's one thing. But then when I'm actually acting it out, I kind of get an idea of like, you know, what the characters are doing, you know, what their faces look like. It helps me visualize the whole scene.
Oh,
So
okay.
that it's all like really there in my brain before I actually sit down to write it.
Okay. Another legend about you that nobody knows about, that maybe I made up, because we haven't talked in so long. I don't know how much of what I know about you is really true, or
I know, Jesse,
you know.
you totally like dropped me. You dropped me like
Okay.
dropped me like it's hot.
Okay, this is what she's talking about. Years ago when I first got started, it was right after I released Chased, I think. I put some books in the contest FIFBO. And we ended up getting into a conversation, and I sent you an interview for my blog, and you agreed to do it, and then I sent it to you, and you had all the answers back to me in 20 minutes. I was like, what the fuck? Like, this person is serious about her career, you know, she reminds me of me. So, because a lot of the writers that I have interviewed in the past, and a lot of writers in general, like, they get the interview and they sit on it for a couple of days before they send it out. But like you, same night, 20 minutes later, you had the answers. Oh, and they were really interesting and perfect, and everything was great. And I'm gonna post a link in the comments of that interview so that people can read what we're talking about here. But so I sent you a joke, and you sent one back to me, and then, you know, back and forth and all this kind of stuff. And then one day I was just desperate, so I wrote this like really intense thing, saying like, no writers are talking to me, and I'm doing this all alone, and I'm scared, and, you know, all this kind of shit. And I knew at the time that I was crazy, and so I didn't know how much of what I was saying or what I was doing was normal, you know, and what I was thinking was normal, or if I was just a writer freak, you know. So I was trying to get all these conversations started on Facebook, and nobody would talk to me, and nobody would say anything, and I'd send like messages out and all this kind of stuff. And one day I just came and just totally, you know, dropped my purse on you and was just like, and I said, I just need somebody to talk to about all of this. And you came back with pen pals, question mark. And I was like, yes, please. So we started talking. So for a long time, it was, I would send you messages and they were like 500,000 word, 5,000 word like essays of just, you know, like absolute nonsense. I know I wrote some really weird, like trippy, crazy things. And I would just like completely, when I was writing you back then, I would just completely lose myself. And so we had that going for a while. We did that for like a year and a half or something, just back and forth every day, you know, back and forth. And then your writing schedule changed.
Yeah.
And you started writing really early in the morning. And then you started like you would be like, okay, well, I only have a couple minutes and I write this and this and this, and you'd leave me something short and be like, I'll get back to you later, and then you'd be too busy to do that, and then I'd write another like 7,000 word thing and you'd come back, that's really great, but I have to, you know, school's crazy, I gotta go, and all this kind of stuff. And it got to the point, Mel, it really got to the point where I started to feel as though I was interrupting your life, you know, like it got to the point where I felt like I was like you didn't have time to write like we used to. So I, you know, kind of step back and kind of, you know, let you go on about your thing, and still counted you as like one of my best friends in the whole game. But yeah, so our writing thing changed a little bit, and now I just go to you when the world's falling apart.
Okay, you're more than welcome to. And I'll tell you, you know, I don't have time to trade 5,000 word essays every day, but I sure would like to hear from you multiple times a week. So, you know,
Okay.
just reach out, man, reach out.
All right, you know what, I'll start doing that.
You need to.
I really enjoyed
it. I need a friend, man. I need a friend.
Okay, yeah.
Other
Yeah,
than
definitely.
stupid. Come here, stupid.
All right. So I'm really excited. Last on the climax of last season, we were supposed to have you, Richard Nell, Sarah Chorn, and me, but you were injured, and so you were only able to come on for a little while.
And I was like all drugged up when I did.
Yeah. Well, I got you to actually agree to come and do this, you know, to do what we're doing right now. And then I sent you my autobiography, and I was like, fuck, now she's not gonna want to be on my show because she's gonna know how crazy I am. So like, you have actually read Teardrop. Like,
I have. I really enjoyed it too.
If you've read Teardrop,
good.
If you've read Teardrop, then why are you still talking to me? What's that all about?
Because you're still freaking Jesse freaking Teller. I don't know what to say. You know, how can I put this? Most writers I know, we all have something going on. I mean, we all do. I certainly do. I am not a normal person.
Right.
First of all, normal people don't isolate themselves in a room all day and talk to their imaginary friends.
This is true.
Okay. They really don't.
This is true.
So, you know, I can't judge, man. I can't judge. And, you know, I'll tell you, anybody who has come through what you've come through and is still able to do the things that you do, I mean, I have nothing but admiration for. My goodness.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Most of it is her.
Take some credit, Jesse. Take some credit.
I'm
That's
getting there.
right.
I said most of it is her.
Right.
Some of it is the fact that I went through so much therapy. But basically what happened is me and her got together, and then we ended up breaking up. And then we got together again, and we ended up breaking up again. And then I went into really deep therapy. And basically the whole time I was going through the therapy, my goal was to get back together with her, you know, to fix myself so that I would be healthy for her, and make some sense of my life and, you know, the things that were going on in it. And so that's what really got me where I am right now. I remember at one point, I was supposed to be writing. We had talked about my writing career. Every now and then we talk about how I should be writing and how, you know, I was going to be writing and I was going to be a big writer someday and all this kind of stuff. But basically, my life consisted of, I'd wake up sometime around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'd go sit in front of TV and watch episodes of Friends and drink coffee and eat chili dogs. And then I'd hang out with the kids for a while, make dinner, hang out with Becca for about an hour, and then I get on World of Warcraft and play until like, oh god, I get on World of Warcraft and play until like 6 o'clock in the morning, and that was my life for like a year and a half. And I was just slowly drying up, you know, I was just slowly drying up. I got into really unhealthy patterns, and finally she came to me and she woke me up, and she came and she woke me up. And Shadow, you know, like, okay, so I have DID. Everybody that's watching this channel knows that I have DID. You've read the book, so you know Shadow. So she wakes me up and Shadow's like, shit, fuck, what time is it? And she's like, I think it was like noon or something. And she's like, you're getting up. And he's like, I'm like 6 hours into my sleep. And she goes, doesn't matter, you get less sleep today. And he got up and he's like, fuck. And she's like, I need Shade. And you didn't read about Shade, you don't know who that is, but he comes out. She takes me out into the living room. She's like, you've got to do something. And I was like, okay. He's like, okay, well, just tell me what to do. And she says, no, you have to do something with your life. You need to get a job. So with all the things going on with me, I'm mentally disabled. And I said, well, I'm kind of on disability. I'm kind of mentally disabled, you know, like, and she goes, yeah, but you're not dead. She goes, so like, work 3 hours at McDonald's if you have to. Just, you know, just get a life, basically. Just get a life.
It sounds really messed up when you put it that way.
So I had to evaluate like what I was doing. And at first I tried to write books and still play World of Warcraft. It's weird calling it that. Still play WoW. But in the end, it just got to the point where I just had to focus on the writing. So I rewrote everything, and then I got as far as the book that is currently called Eastgate. The name is going to change, and I started writing it, and it started getting long. And this is in 2010. I start writing it in September 15th, and it starts getting long, and I keep writing it, and it's getting longer, and I keep writing it. And I finished it this December 15th, exactly 3 months later, and it was 900 pages long. And I sat back and she read the last pages of it, and she was like, "This is amazing." And I was like, "Yeah." And she goes, "So you're thinking 3 books?" And I said, "No, this is 7." And she goes, "This is a 7-book series?" And I said, "Yeah." And she's like, "Okay, like, how do this is the first book your husband's written in 6 years. Like, how do you prepare him to write a 7-book epic length series?" You know, I mean, it was crazy. But I guess, like, it was a situation where I was either I had to start concentrating on writing every day, producing something and doing something with my life, or the alternative was to disappoint her, you know, and I was totally unwilling to disappoint her. So that's why things have gotten how they are. And it's out of hand now. It really is. It's out of hand now. There's just so much there that I have written and that I have planned to write. Like, anyway. Okay. So we started, I want to talk to you about your boy toys. This is
Where are they?
okay, this is a conversation that we had a while ago. You might not remember it. Either that or I made it up. It's totally possible. But okay, so that's the Dragon Mage poster. And then that right there is the Ren Wars poster. And there is a man on the Ren Wars poster pulling a sword out from a sheath on his back. Who is that dude? And that's the boy toy we're talking about here. Who is that dude?
Okay. Well, actually, now that I know the boy toys that you're talking about, he's not the major boy toy. I mean, he's one of them. All right. So basically, when I had this cover made, or actually these covers, I went to a person who, instead of just using stock images, she actually hires like real models. And so I got to pick the model. So of course, me and my, at the time, 17-year-old daughter sat down in front of the computer, checking out all these hot male models at these modeling agencies. And we're just like, yeah, no, yeah, abs, no, yeah, abs, more abs. Yeah. It was really, you know, mother-daughter kind of bonding thing.
Okay.
Anyway, we found him. We really liked him just because of the, you know, pissed off look on his face. I mean, he just had this like really aggressive, like, I'm gonna fuck you up kind of look. We're like, yeah, that's Darian. Okay, we'll take him. But the one that my daughter really liked ended up on the first Darkstorm cover. Unfortunately, his abs were too epic, and I had to replace them because it looked more like a paranormal romance novel than a grim dark novel.
Yeah.
But that man, to this day, my daughter still has a crush on him.
Okay, we're not going to show that picture right now. We're not going to show you those pictures because my wife helps me edit these movies, and I can't compare with his abs are too epic. I can't compare with that guy, so we're not going to show that. So you had a guy on the cover of Dark Mage.
Yeah.
That's the main character, Darian, right?
Yeah.
And then you went back to that same actor. I mean, that same model later, and had him for the other books. Is that correct?
Well, actually, this was part of all the same photo shoot. So we
Okay.
had like hundreds of pictures, so I can just like change them up and put a different background on it, you know?
Okay. So
Yeah.
you have to describe some of this is why you called them your toys. When we were talking before, you got to describe some of the poses that they were in, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
is
and I
that
even like made their costume. I bought the sword, I shipped it over there. Yeah, so it was a lot
oh,
of
that's
fun.
cool. That's really cool. So you got to, oh man, this is hilarious. This is hilarious. I'm gonna have fun, so much fun with this. Okay, so where were they at? Where was the modeling agency at?
Boston.
And you're in California.
Mhm.
That's what I thought. Oh, great. So you have to describe to them what kind of poses you want them to be in. So did you have somebody take some poses of you doing the different things, and then send them and say, make them do this? Is that how that worked?
No, it wasn't that specific. Yeah, it
well,
wasn't.
that's what we're
It
gonna
would have
say.
been it would have been nice.
That's
but
what we're
yeah.
gonna say. We're not gonna get into the apps
Okay.
that actually work.
We'll do
That's
that.
what. No, okay. So tell me how it actually worked.
Well, I just kind of like described like the scene, and they actually hired a makeup artist
Okay.
to like do things like scars and sweat, and he's got like these chains wrapped around his wrists that are kind of like tattoos, but they're not. So all that kind of had to be painted on. You know, we had to have wigs, we had to have he wears a black cloak with this like really specific like star pattern on the back. So I embroidered that.
Yeah. Did you get that back?
I did. In fact, it was in my closet up until last week and I just threw it away.
Oh, but you have a picture of it, right?
Yeah, somewhere in my life. I have
Okay, so send me a picture of it and we'll put that picture in right now.
Okay.
So you embroidered this.
Yes.
So you're like a whole seamstress thing, right?
Wannabe seamstress thing.
Okay, well, how can you embroider something like that and not call yourself a seamstress?
Because it wasn't all that good.
Okay.
I'm not
Okay.
gonna like quit my day job over a career in embroidery.
Well, okay, well, that's sad. That's sad. All right, so you sent them all the props, you described the scene, you picked the guys that you wanted to do the thing,
Mhm.
and you had them, you told them what poses to get into. This was all over the phone, or is this according to over Skype, or how did this whole communication?
Email. Yeah, lots of emails. Dialogue.
Okay, emails. Okay. Okay. So yeah, so you actually have a Darien.
Yeah, I
He
do.
actually walks around out there.
He exists. I think he's like a real estate salesman or something. I don't know.
Well, let's hope he's an actor and that they decide to make a movie on Renoirs
Oh
and
gosh,
they hire the actual Darien to do it. That would be awesome, right?
that would be awesome. That would work.
Okay, how's Stupid doing? And has Stupid stopped crying? And how's Stupid doing? All
There he
right.
is in all of his purring glory.
Okay. That's cool. That's cool. I want a cat, but 3 of the 4 people that live in this house are allergic to cats, including me.
Yeah, that's
So
not,
that's not a good idea.
yeah.
And we don't have a Roomba, so that's not a good idea either.
Yeah, I have a
And
Roomba.
we don't yet have a maid, a cleaning service. So basically all my options are taken away.
Nope. Yeah, no cat for you.
But okay, so I went to this baby shower once. I'd done a semester in college and had a friend, and she dropped out and married a guy, and they were still living in town. she got pregnant. We decided to have this, I went to this baby shower. I hadn't seen her forever. We get there, I sit down. I'm early for the party. So it's me and her, and we're just sitting there waiting for people to show up. And all of a sudden, this thing lands in my lap. And I swear to God, Mel, this was not a cat. It was a lynx. This thing, okay, I'm not even exaggerating. This thing from shoulders to hind is this big. I mean, it's like,
oh, it's a Maine Coon cat.
It's like 3 feet.
Yeah.
It weighs more than a dog. And
Brilliant.
it looks at me, it's got the ears, it's got the, and it's red. Okay, it's like a blood red and a yellow.
How beautiful.
And it looks at me and it could kill me. I'm pretty scrappy. I think that assassin, guardian, maybe shadow could maybe put up a good enough fight, but this cat was a scrapper, and it sits down in front of me. Of course, it weighs a ton, and it stares at me. And I went, Shadow was out, so he's really crass. And it was, what the fuck is this? Never seen anything like it. So okay, you guys might not know what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm going to show a Maine Coon, picture of a Maine Coon right now. Look at that fucking animal.
I love Maine Coons.
Look at how big that is.
If Andy ever leaves this world, he's going to be replaced by a beautiful giant Maine Coon cat.
Oh, let's hope that's way in the future, but yeah.
I hope it is.
So, okay. So this thing looks at me and I'm like, what is this? And she's like, that's a Maine Coon. And I was like, okay. And Adam comes out, and at the time, Adam's like 6 years old. Okay. He's one of the children alters in my body. He's 6 years old, and he looks at it and he's like, is it gonna eat me? And she's like, no, it probably won't eat you, just pet it. And I'm like, I'm allergic to cats. And she goes, well, you're not allergic right now. Right now, you're gonna pet that cat. So I pet it. It sits down on my lap, and it's enormous.
Yeah.
It takes me like 3 minutes to fall in love with this animal.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, I don't even care if I have allergic reaction. I don't even care. They usually come in slow and they last for a long time, but it's like I can take a shower and get the dander off when I get home and throw the clothes away and burn them if I have to. I'm petting this cat. So just to give you an example of how big this animal is, because I don't know how much time you've spent with a Maine Coon, but just to give you an example of how big this animal is, at one point it looks up at me and it yawns. And it opens its mouth in a perfect yawn. And I swear, when it got to the extreme of its yawn, I could have taken a tennis ball and fit it directly in its mouth and not touched its teeth at all and pulled the tennis ball back out. And it wouldn't have, this thing was amazing. Anyway, it's a gorgeous animal. It's a gorgeous animal. I'm gonna show another one. Right. Are you gonna help me with this? Right now. We're gonna show you another one. Okay, so that's a Maine Coon. All right. So there's my Maine Coon story. I know you asked. I know you were dying to hear my Maine Coon story, but okay. So can you tell us how you came up with, okay, this is how I want to phrase this. When you and me were writing back and forth all the time, you were when we first hooked up, you were like finishing up your third book in the Ren Wars, I think. You were like closing that out. So at that time, you were talking about you were building another world to write in. Okay. Do you know which world I'm talking about?
Yeah, I called it Counter World.
You called it Mirror World.
Okay, yeah, back in the
This
day.
was way back then.
Yeah, this has been through several permutations.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You called it Mirror World. Have we seen that? Is that where Dragon Mage takes place?
Yeah, that's Dragon Mage.
That's Dragon Mage. Okay, can you tell us a little bit about what did you end up landing on? What name did you end up landing on for the world?
The actual world?
Okay.
It's called Riven World.
Okay, Riven World. All right, cool.
Yeah.
So it was when you were talking to me about it, it sounded amazing. And I was like, yes, do this. So when you were talking about it, it sounded amazing. I want to hear like what we're looking at. Like, what is this world like? I think it's something interesting enough. People are going to want to hear about it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to preface this by saying that I have a horrendous memory. I have seizures, and I take a lot of seizure meds. And honestly, Jesse, you could probably tell me more about my early ideas for Mirror World than I even remember.
Okay.
So maybe we can talk about that someday.
Okay.
But I can tell you how it ended up.
That's what I want to know. I want to know how it ended up.
Okay. So yeah, back when you and I were talking, I had just an idea for the world, and it's like a world that kind of got split. And I think that when I was talking to you, I had an idea of like the world that's above and a world that's below. That's kind of like a reflection of the world above. And that's kind of like the way it ended up. Only it ended up with like the world above being like the world of man.
Okay.
Very secular.
Okay.
The world below is like the world of magic.
Okay.
And so, you know, they're separated by like this void, basically. And so that's the world, and the world below has like the dragons and all that kind of stuff, and it's very, very magical.
Yeah.
And ephemeral. The world above is very low fantasy. It's very grimdark. It's basically all about colonialism, and yeah, it's imperialism. It's pretty bad. It's like not a good place to live. And all of magic kind of got killed out of the world above. You've got these guys called Exilari sorcerers who can't really do magic themselves by themselves because they don't have like that real magic spark within them. So what they do is they hunt down magic users and they distill their souls.
Oh, fantastic.
And then they drink that.
That sounds
that
great.
allows them to perform magic. Fortunately, they killed them all in this process, and so there's really nothing left in the world above except for my little dude, who's kind of a throwback. And so he's a very powerful mage, even though he doesn't know it. When he's young, we start with him being young. He's a very insecure little dude. We would call him as being on the autism spectrum.
Okay.
And he has this hyper focus, you know, as people sometimes with Asperger's can get. I get it. Where he likes to fiddle with knots, and he's just like this amazing knot person. He can do like thousands of knots. He's got a whole cave full of knots that he's made and learned, and that's just this thing. And it really works out well because my whole magic system is based on knots. So
that's cool.
Like, yeah, so he's just like magically like predisposed to be able to be like a great sorcerer, even like from when he was little, because that's like what he was been fixated on all of his life.
Yeah.
So yeah, he ends up like running from the bad guys and ends up down in the world below with the dragons and everything else. So yeah, that's what it's about.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Yeah, we could talk another time if you would rather. We could talk another time about some of the early things you were telling me about Mirror World. If you don't want to get into it here, we could talk about some of the early things you were telling me about Mirror World, and even back then, before it had reached the stage you're talking about now, before it had reached this iteration, it was still some really fantastic, really cool stuff. So that was cool. So yeah, that was a really cool. I'm glad that you were able to do something with that dual world idea that you had, because there was a lot of steam to that. There was that idea really had legs as far as I was concerned. So yeah.
Well, thank you. It took me a while to actually get it together because for so long all I had was a world.
Yeah.
I didn't really have a story to put into it, and I didn't have a
Right.
good character to cast. So that took a while. You know, it came when it came,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it had to have time to kind of percolate and brew and
Yeah.
everything. So I'm glad I waited to write it.
Yeah. Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm doing something now with my world. Like, okay, so I have, I mean, I'm gonna pull something up, and that right there is covering your face. So I'm gonna move that, and that right there is no longer accurate. I should probably delete that. And I don't know why that's there. Okay. So as far as the books that I have written, I have all of the books written that I'm gonna need to write until October 2029. That's my new uh, deadline for new material.
You're
Okay,
a beast, Jesse. A
2000
beast.
2029. Yeah. Well, basically, well, you read Teardrops, so you know, like, Smear Lord of Ire has been screaming at me for decades. So this is what happens. To shut him up, to shut up that altar, I have to just keep writing. And so for me, it's a coping mechanism. And for everybody else is like, oh my God. And I'm like, no, I'm still alive. That's the thing we need to go focus on here, you know. Because, like, okay, so let's talk about this for a minute. Like, you've read your Teardrop, so you know how Samira Lord of Ire was formed, you know how Artist was formed. And that's when I started having hallucinations. Okay, like, I was able to start, I started to see things that weren't there, things that were kind of there, remembered doing things that I'd never done, that later I would find out never actually happened, stuff like this. So like, with those hallucinations, you've got to find a way to fight that. And as a person who is a writer, like, I didn't want to fight that by taking antipsychotics and, like, shut off that level of creativity in my mind. So the way that I battled it back was by writing about it. So basically, everything that I write and everything that I have written is nothing more than a battle for sanity, I guess. Like after he's written a chapter, after I've written a chapter, like this is a desk again. This actually tastes like iced coffee. It actually looks like iced coffee. This isn't doing what it's doing right now. Like, you know, the hallucinations, they go away. And so all the writing is a battle for me to make some kind of reality in my world instead of this hallucination reality that I'm constantly living in. Anyway, so the stuff that I'm doing now is really, really complex. And it's really, it reminds me more of looking at a Dali painting than it does any kind of actual written book, you know? Like it's all very abstract, not in content, but in the way that it's laid out. It's all very abstract and very, you know, strange looking. And so like I have this thing where it affects my reality when I'm not writing. So I'm always really curious as to like what other writers experience. What like, okay, let's say you were unable to write for a long period of time, anything at all. Okay, like what would that start to do to your day and like your mind and like how you interact with people? Would that have any kind of effect on you?
Actually, yeah. I took a decade off writing. After I wrote Dark Mage back in 2004, I couldn't get it published, and I tried and tried and tried. Didn't happen. I finally said screw it. Pretty much wadded it up, stuck it in the closet, and said I'm never going to write again. And I didn't write for a very long time. The problem is my brain is always hyperactive. It can't shut down. I can't just sit down and watch like a TV show. It's impossible. I can't even really read a book very easily anymore, which is why I read books so slowly. I have to basically be in a situation where there's like literally nothing else to do. And so that's, for instance, why I read your book on the airplane, man. It was great airplane fare. So all the way there, all the way back. But actually yours was pretty freaking gripping. So it was an easy read. But yeah, so what do I do when I'm not writing? Play computer games, really. I think back then I was into WoW. Now I'm into Elder Scrolls Online, which might be part of the reason why I'm so writer's blocked. I've been spending too much time gaming. Yeah. But I'm always in some type of an alternate world, Jesse. I'm never out of it. Even when I'm going to sleep at night, I'm daydreaming. I mean, creating stuff, living other lives. Yeah, that's what happens.
Do you think that the more you write, the more hard it is for you to concentrate on things like TV shows and movies and stuff like that? Do you think that the writing is taking that concentration away from you?
I don't know if it's the writing. I think it might be technology in general.
Okay.
I've noticed something during COVID because I've been spending so much time at home. And from the moment I wake up in the morning to the moment I go to bed, I'm on a computer or a screen of some type. Okay. Literally the only time I'm not in front of a screen is when I'm cooking or eating. Maybe I'll walk around the block, maybe. Yeah. But that's it. So I'm probably on the computer screen I don't know, 16 plus hours a day.
Wow.
And that probably has a lot to do with my inability to concentrate or focus,
Yeah.
So
Okay.
could it be writing? Yeah, it could be. But honestly, my brain has never been still. I have Asperger's. I was born with it. I've been living in a different world all my life. I used to get horrendously teased because I was never a child. I was always a horse or a lizard or something, a fairy princess. So that's nothing different than the way I was growing up.
Yeah.
Just the way I've always been.
Yeah. As far as the fairy princess thing, artists only turn Shadow into a fairy princess when he's pissed off at him.
I wanna
Dude,
see
what the
this.
fuck, man? You don't need to be telling people shit like that. What the fuck? That never happened. We're gonna edit that shit out. Mel, you're Mel. Hey, what the fuck? Hey, it's good to see you. Okay, all right.
Becca, you need to get him a pink tutu now.
Yeah.
What? What?
Pink tutu? You?
Oh,
In pink
did I
tutu?
did I shift on?
Yeah, you were just shifting.
Did I shift on screen?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not cool.
No, it was fine.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, okay. Unfortunately, I have to go. Thank you so much for coming on my show, and listening to me talk about Maine Coons, and for telling us about your boy toys and all that kind of stuff. It was all great. It was all great. Thank you very much. And tell me you'll come back. Tell me you'll come back.
Of course I'll come back.
Okay, well, next time we'll throw somebody else in here. I don't know who it'll be, but we're gonna throw someone else in here, and like the three of us will throw down in some way. Okay. Well, okay, well, I'll write you soon, and thank you again for coming to see me.
Thank you
Say
for
goodbye.
having me.
Say goodbye to my office.
Bye.
Oh wait. Okay. So that was Mel. That was ML Spencer. And I really admire her, and we always have a lot of fun when we talk. Okay. So yeah, that's our show for tonight. It's the second to last episode of the season. The next episode is the season finale. I've got something really, really crazy planned for the season finale. Really crazy stuff. And I would definitely, you should definitely tune in next week. And yeah, so I wanted to leave by saying that about a week and a half ago, my wife started a TikTok for her poetry. By now she's got about 4 poems up, and maybe a couple more. I might be wrong, but at least 4. And there's and she's just somebody to watch, you know. We went to a poetry slam a couple weeks ago. They have one in town here every the last Sunday.
Yeah, it's the last Sunday of every month.
The last Sunday of every month, and we went to it. Saw some really good poets. Some of them had styles that I really didn't care for, but some of them were just unbelievable. And Becca got up on stage and she performed hers. You know, all of hers have a rhyme and a meter to them. So when she was up there, she had it memorized, standing in front of a mic on the middle of a blue stage. and the way she was moving and the way she was, it was just like watching, it was like watching an a cappella rap. It was very cool. It was very cool. I was very proud of her. And so I got to see her perform in front of a crowd. There weren't a lot of people there, but it was a crowd. And she was absolutely fearless. She handled the nerves so well that I could barely see them at all. And basically what I learned from watching my wife do this poetry slam is that she belongs in front of people. She belongs on the stage. As introverted as she is, she's a performer. She's a performer. It reminds me a lot of, I think my son Tobin gets a lot of that from her, because he's a performer. At the same time, he's oftentimes shy around people, you know, and quiet around people. So it's a strange kind of blending of two extremes on a spectrum. But she's made to be in front of people. So, okay, her TikTok, I would like for you guys to check it out if you're at all interested in seeing my wife be amazing. Her TikTok is at Rebecca Teller, but Rebecca's spelled weird. Rebecca is spelled, oh God, I hope I do this right. No, keep your mouth shut. If I do this wrong, that's it. I'm gonna be in so much trouble. Rebekah. It's the biblical Rebecca. Like Abraham's wife. The father of Israel. The father of the Jewish people. A man who started his own nation with the help of a woman named Rebecca. I'm not going to draw any analogies from that, but I will tell you that I changed my name and started a new family tree. So it is it's kind of crazy that I married a woman named Rebecca with the ancient biblical spelling of that. Anyway, check her out. I'll keep you updated on her poetry slam stuff. I might even next time, if she doesn't mind, I might even take some video of her when she's up on stage and put it on the channel. Probably not in the next one, but next season we'll probably see some of her performances, if she'll let me do that. I don't know if she'll let me do that, but if she'll let me do that, I'm probably gonna do that. Anyway, yeah, so, oh, that's my son. He's on his first night out with his friends. Okay, the bass will show you out. Bye.